What is up, guys? Julian Nichols back at you again with another YouTube video today. And today we have a topic to discuss that I've been thinking about all the time. I've been talking to my other MMA friends about it pretty consistently. And I've just came to the conclusion that Shavkat Rakhmonov is underhyped. Now, there are a lot of people on the Shavkat train. Of course, he has like 1.3 million followers on Instagram. So he's a pretty big name on social media. Of course, that definitely entails a lot more followers and more fans and stuff of his are from another country, more specifically Eastern Hemisphere. He hasn't really broken through to being a popular fighter in the Western Hemisphere on a lot of content creators, stuff along those lines, and just the casual MMA fan base in general. Now, my opinion on Shavkat Rakhmonov, I think he is GOAT potential. I think that this man could go on to be one of, if not the best mixed martial artist of all time. He has no holes in his game. I thought he did. I thought he had bad head movement. I rewatched the Jeff Neal fight, and Jeff Neal just can fucking throw. He's got hands. And Shavkat Rakhmonov, when you take a deeper dive and actually really take a look at it closely, he was displaying some decent head movement in that fight as well, of course. Very crisp, powerful, marauding, absolutely unforgiving striking, and just suffocating grappling and submission game. Shavkat Rakhmonov is my favorite fighter. I'll put that out there now. I think it's like my third video. Shavkat Rakhmonov is my favorite fighter. When I think of Shavkat, I think 18-0 all finishes. That's never happened before in the sport. I don't give a fuck. That's impossible to be able to. It should be impossible, but he just makes it possible. It's absolutely insane. And the fact that more fans aren't riding with this guy and really like on the hype train, he's one of my top favorite fighters. No one's really saying these things. People are like, oh, he's impressive. He'll probably, get a title shot eventually after Bilal. I don't know how people aren't losing their fucking minds over this dude like they were with fucking Khabib and Islam and Chimaev. He seems like he's the least hyped out of any of these guys in the last like 5-6 years on the come up. And he has the most impressive record. I mean, of course, Khabib had the most 10-8s in combat sports history. That's an achievement in and of itself. But the fact that you've never even gone to a decision with Shavkat, 18-0 all finishes, 10 submissions, 8 knockouts. You don't get more well-rounded than that. You don't get more critical than that. And he's just a very, very clinical fighter. He really is. And when I think of Shavkat, I'm like, who's the dude that fucking runs North Korea? I don't even know. I forgot what his name was. If the North Korean dictator was gonna send an assassin after you, Shavkat Rakhmonov is who I would picture. If Xi Jinping, if you fucking betrayed communist China and Xi Jinping wanted you to get fucking whacked, the person that I would imagine in my mind, the image that would pop up would be Shavkat Rakhmonov. He just is a fucking cold-hearted assassin. Excellent ground game. Wonderful submissions. He's not just out here wet blanketing people. He's working for the submission. People were complaining about his last fight against Wonderboy. He had a broken fucking foot. And of course, Wonderboy's distance management is good. Once he got him up against the cage, it was only a matter of time before he got him down and submitted him. First person to ever submit Wonderboy. This dude's breaking records left and right, and people just don't seem to be breaking an eye. They just don't even seem to be caring. It's like it's almost expected. I don't think anybody could expect someone to be 18-0 all finishes. This dude is going to be the welterweight champion by the end of 2024. I already have money on that prop, that future right there. The max that my sports book would allow me to put on that was 25. I would have put fucking 2,500 on it if I could, because that's a fucking lock. And realistically, Leon is probably going to beat Bilal. And then Shavkat is probably going to fight somebody else within the next year and then get his title shot. Now, who would Shavkat fight? Kamaru Usman is a name that's been floating around a little bit. I don't really know if I see that matchup happening. In a perfect world, I would love to see Shavkat Rakhmonov in a #1 contenders fight, either against Ian Cuckchato Gary after he fucking dices up Jeff Neal, or I would like to see him face Jack Della Maddalena in a 5-round main event after JDM absolutely demolishes Gilbert Burns. I feel bad for Gilbert Burns in that fight. I love him as a fighter, but JDM's most likely going to terrorize him with the body shots, with the crispy hands up top. I think Gilbert Burns is going to get brutalized, unfortunately. I want to see Shavkat either fuck up Ian Gary or JDM. And then he's going to go in there and he's going to beat Leon Edwards by submission. Okay? Even though Leon Edwards is well-rounded, he hasn't fought an absolute cold-hearted European assassin like Shavkat Rakhmonov. This dude probably doesn't even feel emotion. He literally looks like he's less developed, like has a less developed frontal lobe than most human beings, because he still looks like he's fucking living in a cave. But that is the last person I would ever want to fight. The man is fucking insane, an absolute killer. And I don't understand why MMA fans aren't raving about this guy like Khabib and Islam. Oh, brother. He's going to submit him, brother. He's going to smash this guy. Just like they were good for Chimaev. Before Chimaev fought Gilbert Burns and Usman, people thought this dude was going to go in there and ragdoll everybody. Khamzat is a fucking wish Shavkat, dude. Shavkat is what Khamzat Chimaev wishes he was. Now that might be an interesting take right there, because of course the level of competition, there's a bit of a differential there. So we'll have to see Shavkat, finally take up a good step up in competition, because we didn't even need to see the Wonder Boy fight. We all know how that was going to go. Didn't even need to see that. But I want him to take a step up in competition, fight Ian Gary or JDM, #1 contenders fight, new age of the welterweight division, incoming 2024-2025, and I think he's going to get that belt. And I think it's going to take him to be able to get the belt and maybe even beat like Machado Gary in a title fight, Cuckchato Gary in a title fight, for him to even be able to get fans or really get the respect he deserves. But I'm giving him that respect he deserves right now. I've been a fan of him for fucking ever since he was on the Khabib and Justin card. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hop on the train with this guy. I'm gonna ride with him. I'm gonna see where the waves takes us. But it's taking us right to the top, and I'm not hopping off now. I've been on this guy big for a while, and I think he's gonna be a serious fucking problem in the welterweight division. Champion 2024. And now I'm gonna go ahead and discuss a few of the wins and matchups that would put him in that top 5 of all time in the GOAT conversation. I'm gonna go ahead and lay out the roadmap. This is a best case scenario, of course. This is very unlikely to happen without any losses or anything like that, but I'm just putting it out there that it is possible. I'm sure not many people expected him to get to 18-0 either. Let's say he beats Leon Edwards in a title fight by submission. Since Leon has been a pretty dominant champion, even though he's not very entertaining and doesn't have like a huge draw, let's just say that they do a rematch and Shavkat beats him again. That's 2 wins over arguably the third, possibly the second best welterweight of all time behind GSP. And let's say he gets those 2 wins. Let's say he defends the belt versus Ian Gary, which would definitely be an absolute super fight. That would go crazy. 2 undefeated prospects going at it for the belt. Somebody's has got to go. Let's say he beats Ian Gary. That's his second title defense. And then, maybe 1 or 2 more title defenses at 170. So let's say he beats like Bilal if he maybe, makes a comeback after losing to Leon. Or let's say he maybe fights JDM in a title fight. Let's say he gets both of those defenses. So he's beaten Leon for the belt, defended in a rematch, beat Ian Gary in a title fight, and beats JDM in a title fight. Those are elite wins, and in my opinion, that would probably already put him above Leon and Kamaru Usman in terms of the 170-pound GOAT list. And realistically, in terms of competition, level of competition, elite fighters that he is beating, that would probably make him surpass GSP. Now, I know people are going to be pulling their hair out and losing their minds that I'm saying that someone could pass up GSP, but the level of competition that he was fighting is just not going to be the same as these guys in the new era of MMA. The game has evolved. It is completely different now. Of course, George was before his time, but Shavkat with a record like that would surpass him for 170-pound GOAT. And then he's already going to be in the GOAT conversation in general. Let's say he moves up to 185, has a super fight with like Khamzat Chimaev for the 185-pound strap, and becomes a double champion. And then let's also say that maybe he defends against Islam after winning the 185-pound belt for his 170-pound belt. That would be a huge fight as well. Imagine he's the first person since Islam got knocked out to beat him at a high level and in a big main event. That would be insane and just puts his trajectory even more limitless to the sky. Because if he has that record right now, don't get me wrong, that's like very unlikely to happen, but if he were to do all of those fights, Leon rematch, Ian Gary, JDM, Khamzat Chimaev at 185 for the strap, double champ status, defends against Islam, and then let's say he goes up and defends against Roman Kopylov in like 2025, 2026, because these matchups are going to take a long time to happen. If he has that resume, Shavkat Rakhmonov is the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, right there with Jon Jones, because I think that would be an argument that could be made. But if he has that resume, he would be basically the new Jon Jones. Hey, thank you guys for watching the video. Leave a comment letting me know your take on Shavkat Rakhmonov.